How's it going, everybody? Ben Grove here with round 2 of X Standard Cube League. In this round, we're taking on BubblesRyu and his control deck. If you want to check out more about this cube and about Pokemon Cube in general, make sure to check out the links down below in the description to the Pokemon TCG Cube League Discord. You can also check out my Patreon down there if you want to help support more cube content happening. But other than that, let's just jump right into the action. BubblesRyu's deck it's really cool. I mean, it's got all the all the control staples you know and love or hate. We've got Junk Hunt, Sableye. We've got Resource Management or Guru. 4 Crushing Hammer, which Bubbles was in my pod. If you watch the draft video, which if you haven't, go ahead and check out the playlist, so you can see the draft video. I was noticing, I was like, yeah, there haven't been a lot of Crushing Hammers coming around, and Crushing Hammer would have been really great with in combination with Lycanroc and Aerodactyl, because the discard synergy with the Lycanroc GX is already discarding energy with its ability, and Aerodactyl makes basic Pokemon's attacks cost 1 colorless more, so there would have been some really inherent synergy, but those Crushing Hammers were getting scooped up in the draft. There's also a nice little Shock Lock package and a Chinchou that can drag up some things into the active, so definitely a really cool and really threatening deck, but I'm excited to show off the action, so here we go. Starting off, Bubbles goes ahead and starts off first. He's got Mew in the active, and that Mew's going to be able to copy any basic Pokemon's attack that he has in play. So right now we can copy that Junk Hunt off of Sableye. They've got some nice draw to start off the game here. They've got a couple Pokédex that they're going to chain back to back, and then attach Hiding Dark to Sableye and send it over to me. I'm going to be really conservative with my plays here in this game. I'm kind of feeling out what their deck is capable of. So I just go ahead and attach Pass, and that's met with an immediate Crushing Hammer. So we know the kind of vibe of this game for sure. They're going to go ahead and get Winona, which is going to help just get their board set up. With Winona, they can also grab unidentified fossils, because those count as colorless Pokemon in this cube that you can search for. So, Bubbles was also snatching up some of the unidentified fossils that I was wanting in the draft for sure. They'll grab Resource Management or Guru. Put any 3 cards from your discard pile into the bottom of your deck in any order. Really powerful control staple. I think they're going to basically go towards trying to dig the whole way through their deck and loop the bottom 3 cards with Resource Management like usual. They'll go ahead and bench an unidentified fossil and Junk Hunt and get back, I believe, a Crushing Hammer. I've got a Great Ball, which reveals 6 energy. So that's nothing doing there. I'm just going to go ahead and attach energy and Marnie. I know my opponent had just put some control tools back in hand, so might as well send them to the bottom and hope that we get something that sticks. The really cool thing is I've got an Evo Incense, so I can grab that Aerodactyl, which is going to mean that Bubbles' attacks are going to require 1 more energy. And because of this, they whiff a turn 2 attack. Their Crushing Hammer fails, and so they're just going to grab Steven's Resolve and set their hand up for turn. Steven's Resolve, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck, and your turn ends. So a good control card, kind of just allows them to build up their hand on a definite do-nothing turn there, because the Aerodactyl is preventing them from attacking since they whiffed energy. The one thing in this matchup is that Bubbles is only playing 6 energy total, so that's something that I can really play around to help me win the game. On my turn, I'm just going to go ahead and play Sonia to get some energy and pass it back over, and Bubbles immediately goes for the Crushing Hammer, which is a fail, and attaches Headringer, which is going to make my attack cost 1 more. I only have one tool in my, or no, I've got two tools in my deck. I got a float stone and a karate belt. So a little hard pressed to get one of those guys on me as quick as possible. But the Path to the Peak comes down, which means that is going to block my Aerodactyl's ability. So the unidentified fossil will get discarded, and Bubbles will go ahead and junk hunt for 2 Crushing Hammer. Oh gee, oh goody. Now with the Headringer active, that means I'm not going to be able to attack with my attack for 3 for 120. So I actually go ahead and use Wild Dive GX for 50 damage total. Not a big attack, but it will set some things up. I do draw a Team Flare Grunt, so I'm going to be able to use the Team Flare Grunt, and Bubbles will combat it with Crushing Hammer. So I'm back down to 0 energy in play. They'll go ahead and support Nav with Lapras. And the support nav is going to get Lily. One thing that is a weakness in their deck is they don't have that strong of some draw, so they're just going to play down a couple cards and Lily for a big 2 cards. So not a really strong turn. And they're just going to have to pass it over, even though they were able to get rid of all my energy in play. Not really able to do anything with it. Now, I did top deck up a barrel, and since we're kind of in a state where we're both looking for something, I'm going to go ahead and bench the Bidoof. Yeah, no, bench the Bidoof so I can evolve into a barrel next turn. And I draw Viridian Forest, which is going to be a great card to use to be able to get some energy back into play. I'll start off by using Viridian Forest, getting a Fighting Energy, which I'll attach to Aerodactyl, and draw 2 cards with Industrious Incisors. Decent cards there for sure. We got Lycanroc GX and Karina. The Karina will go ahead and grab me a Rockruff, I believe, and a Field Blower. Basically, I'm just denying my opponent the ability to use that Viridian Forest that I just grabbed. It got me started, and I've got a draw engine now, but I'm saying no easy energy for you. They'll go ahead and attempt some Crushing Hammers, which will fail, and then go for another Lily, which gets them 1 energy, but since Path to the Peak's not in play anymore, that's not enough to attack, so they'll attach the energy to Mew. I've got a Grant here, and I'm just going to thin the Grant out. The Grant it's very nice because it'll just go back into my hand. So I'm basically thinning the Grant to draw some more cards. Nothing too impactful off the top, and so we'll just pass it back over. And my opponent will also draw pass. I've got a Rosian's backup. I'm not going to use it for much that's too strong here. I'm going to get a Viridian Forest and an energy back into deck. Then I'm actually going to use the secondary effect of Grant to discard 2 cards from my hand so I can draw 1. And I draw the Viridian Forest. I actually take a second to check and see, oh, did I not shuffle the deck? No, I did. So a Viridian Forest away the Aerodactyl GX. And at this point, I realized, you know what? I maybe should start attaching to Tapu Koko. And I've set it up kind of really nicely because the Wild Dive did 50 damage to the Sableye, and I can finish it off with a Flying Flip. Now my opponent does get rid of the Viridian Forest, so I no longer have the guaranteed energy, but and they've attached 2 to the Mew now, so the Mew is ready to attack. But I luckily am able to thin some cards with Grant, draw up and find an Uxie, and set up to finally get the energy. And I'll go ahead and Flying Flip, and that will take the first prize of the game. My opponent will immediately come in and respond, benching the Chinchou. The Chinchou has got an attack, Luring Glow, I believe, that switches the opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do here, I'm going to evolve into Lycanroc GX, get rid of the Dark Energy because I'm more afraid of more Crushing Hammers, and Escape Rope. My opponent promotes Lapras, and so I'm just going to go ahead and Leon to boost my damage and KO the Lapras with Flying Flip while spreading more damage to the bench. Mew is in danger of being knocked out next turn. So is Bunnelby. So we're approaching a 2-prize turn. And my opponent is going to go ahead and use their big draw of 2 with Lily. Finds a Crushing Hammer, but no dice. And finally benches a Pikachu. Now, the Pikachu is definitely the big threat here. That's going to evolve into Raichu and use Shock Lock. And they're going to go ahead and Luring Flare and bring up a barrel again. Now, at this point, I still do have an Escape Rope in hand, and that can definitely slow down the dragging up the barrel plays. But I definitely think what I do here is a misplay. I go ahead and use the second Escape Rope. My deck has 2 Escape Ropes and a Float Stone as my switching outs, and I should not have used the second Escape Rope here. Now that I see the Pikachu's in play, I should be playing around the fact that I might be able to get I might be getting Shock Locked. So I really should have waited and dug for the Float Stone. I think just basically waiting on seeing if they find the Raichu. So we're going to use the second Escape Rope here a little bit aggressively. I'm going to be able to take a 2-prize turn, which is really good. And I mean, I think I'm probably kind of greeding out for that 2-prize turn. But let's keep rolling. So the Escape Rope hits. They're going to go ahead and promote Bunnelby because Bunnelby is going to die with the Flying Flip. And I'll Flying Flip and take that or I'll actually Karina's first. And I'll Flying Flip and take that 2-prize turn. Now, at this point, I've got game if I announce one more attack. The Sableye and the Chinchou are both at 1 hit away, but we have found the Raichu and we have found the Devo Spray and a Dark Energy. So the Sableye is fully supplying the Junk Hunt for the Devo Spray combo. And we are locked in the active. I do have a Twilight Eyes Lycanroc, though, to disrupt, and they're going to have to find another Dark Energy to be able to Junk Hunt. But after that, I'll just have to pass the turn. And we'll start attaching energy to my board just to kind of short things up. Still going to leave enough energy in hand to be able to Flying Flip. My opponent starts to turn off with the Pokédex, digging towards a Dark Energy, I'm sure. Trekking Shoes to follow the Pokédex. And they're going to Shock Lock me. Devo Spray. And Ace Trainer. They did not find the energy off the Trekking Shoes Pokédex dig. And so shuffling their hand in, drawing 6, and I'll shuffle my hand in and draw 3 because I'm ahead on prizes. Quick Ball to Thin. And they've got a Slurpuff to keep drawing. They still have not yet found the Darkness Energy they need. And they have found the Raichu for next turn. It got shuffled away with Ace Trainer. But the Devo Spray, I believe, is in the discard. So they're going to go ahead and Pokédex again. And at this point, they find another Headringer to attach to the Aerodactyl. At this point, they are just going to have to pass over with nothing in hand. So I am paralyzed this turn, so they've got one more chance to keep the lock going. They've got Raichu in hand, and I don't really have anything else to do, so I'm just going to attach to the Tapu Koko and pass over. And after drawing with tasting, Lusamine to get back Path to the Peak, and I'm assuming a draw supporter or Ace Trainer. Yeah, they're probably going to get back Ace Trainer. Yeah, Path to the Peak and Ace Trainer. The problem for them right now is that, well, and actually, yeah, they just scoop it up there. The problem for them was that they only had one Pikachu in play. So on this turn, if they evolve into Raichu, and they still don't have an energy to Junk Hunt, they can't get, like, they can't keep the Shock Lock really going. It would be a lot more possible if they had a second Pikachu in play, but they benched a Zebstrika, which at that point in the game was, or benched a Blitzel, which their Sprint Zebstrika was probably not going to come into play at that point when there was like 6 cards left in deck or something like that. So I definitely got a little bit greedy with the escape rope. I should have dug towards a floatstone, I think, but it doesn't really go. It doesn't really get punished, and the Tapu Koko is definitely enough to take down guys that have about 70 HP. So. Tapu Koko also a really good attacker into the Crushing Hammer because it's only a 2 energy cost attack, which is the lowest my deck has. So I was able to be a little bit efficient as well. All right, moving into game 2, I have a mulligan to start off, and then I start a hand with Rockruff, but the other evolutions. I'm not in the business of giving my opponent my mulligan, so I'll keep it. And the cool thing is, right away, I'm kind of threatening my opponent my opponent actually goes second, so I'm kind of threatening a knockout here because the Blitzel has 60 HP and is weak to fighting, and my attack Crunch does 30, and flip a coin if heads discard an energy. And that Crunch is definitely going to come into play here in game 2. I start off by using Ultra Ball, just kind of getting a lay of the deck here, and I'm probably gonna get an Uxie. Yes, there's no reason why I wouldn't get Uxie. Yeah, I got Uxie pick 4 in a pack, by the way. Not to rub it in or anything. My opponent does not have a disruption supporter that's live. Their only disruption supporter is Ace Trainer. So I'm actually just going to get the Lycanroc right now to thin my deck a little bit, and then Uxie set up for 4 and draw 4 cards. So at this point, my opponent is really forced to bench something lest they lose. So they're going to go ahead and play Winona, and this Winona is going to get them some fossils and some gurus and the like. The Uxie's a decent attacker here too. It does 1 for 20, and like if I have to go 1 for 20 a couple turns in a row and they're just like hammering the energy off, like that's not the biggest deal. Like 20 damage will probably get me there. So they've got their Mons with Winona, and they're gonna chain Trekking Shoes into Acrobike, and into Pokédex. So all 3 of their like draw items they're chaining back to back, and their Acrobike, discarding the Absol, which actually might have been really valuable in the second game. So just looking at the Blitzel, yeah, it's all, my opponent's like, oh yeah, I gotta evolve, or I gotta bench some guys to avoid the loss here. So they're gonna bench Unidentified Fossil. They're going to Level Ball for Sableye, attach to it, and pass over to me. I am going to have to give them Viridian Forest to guarantee the energy. But that's okay. We are going to start taking knockouts. I don't do too much except just attach and attack. So we're going to crunch that Zebstrika away. And I have Grant in hand too, which is going to be really great. I can boost my damage with Grant, so Crunch can do 50 damage a turn, which turns Crunch into a 2-hit KO on Sableye from a 3-hit KO. And my opponent just passes with an Unidentified Fossil in the active. Raihan's a pretty dead card. And the unidentified fossil has 60 HP. So I'm going to... Oh, yeah, so I'm just going to attack Grant. Yeah, Grant adds... Actually, sorry, Grant adds 30 damage. So, yeah, the Grant will get the KO on the unidentified fossil. No prize taken, since it is a fossil in this cube. Fossils do not count as prizes. And we're gonna kind of really quickly there. You saw my opponent was kind of stalling out there. I got Grant back in my hand by discarding Crobat and whatever the second thing was, and then attacked through the old Amber as well. My opponent's gonna seize the opportunity to set my hand down low, and they're gonna Ace Trainer me. My Rockruff now has 3 energy on it. Obviously, the fire energy is not ideal, but it's what we've got. They'll get a Slurpuff into play, so they've got some draw power and a Pikachu, and they'll put down a Path to the Peak. And the Path to the Peak will protect their energy on the Sableye, since I can't discard it with Lycanroc. And they're going to actually go for the Confuse Ray. There's nothing in their discard pile that they want to get back, and so the Confuse Ray will just be more valuable at this point. And if past cubes have my play in Coin Flip Cube, I was very conservative playing around Confusion, and I'm going to be conservative playing around Confusion here, because the damage from Psychic Restore will set it up for a Grant KO next turn with the Rockruff. So I'll attach Capture to get out a Bidoof. And the funny thing about this Bidoof, let's take a look at this. Oops, let's take a look at this Bidoof for just like a second when it pops up on the screen. This cube has got so many different like control tools, right? Like this Bidoof, an Amnesia. Choose one of the depending Pokemon's attacks. This Pokemon can't use that attack during your opponent's next turn. And then Scavenge, search a discard pile for a trainer card. Like, get back a... and this card is from the Diamond and Pearl block, so it's not actually getting back a trainer card. It's just getting back an item card, because the wording of the cards were different in that era. Trainer cards were what are today's modern item cards, and supporters and stadiums were their own different thing. So yeah, search your discard pile for a trainer card. Like, yeah, like it can just get back Counter Catcher or other control tools. So insane Bidoof. Also kind of counters like Junk Hunt or Resource Management, because it just says, okay, yeah, you can't use that attack. And I will Psychic Restore into the Sableye, and I won't shuffle it away. My opponent has a Pokegear. They're digging for a supporter. And finding something? Question mark. No. They're going to retreat out of the Sableye, sensing the impending Rockruff KO, and go for a Crushing Hammer, which they fail. They'll switch into Mew, attach to the Mew and Lily, so they're just kind of thinning down their hand a little bit, which is fine. And with the Mew, they'll go ahead and what attack are they going to copy? I think they copy Junk Hunt. Yeah, they copy Junk Hunt, getting back Crushing Hammer. And this Mew only has 50 HP, and Versus Seeker, so really powerful. The Mew only has 50 HP. I do draw a Sonya off the top, and the Sonya is just going to guarantee me some energy. I've used the Sonya for turn, so I'm locked into attacking with the Uxie, which is fine. And so I'm just gonna end up doing 40 damage to the Mew. We can either pick that off with a Flying Flip later, or attack into it and get a 2-hit KO. And I decide to, for some dumb reason, to hold the energy. I don't know. They just got back Versus Seeker. That was not very smart on me. They have an Enhanced Hammer to hit the Capture energy, which is really unfortunate for me. A Nest Ball, and the Nest Ball is going to grab, I think it grabs a second Pikachu. No, it grabs more Pico. Okay, interesting. And a Tails on the Crushing Hammer keeps my energy safe. And then they will indeed use Versus Seeker to Ace Trainer me. They do Ace Trainer me into Barrel though, so all's well that ends well. And they'll probably go ahead and Junk Hunt again, yes. And Junk Hunt getting back Pokegear and no, Versus Seeker and Crushing Hammer. Or no, Pokegear and Crushing Hammer. Okay. I do have energy in hand, so I can get the KO. And I'm going to just go ahead and attach and do that. My opponent will respond with the Crushing Hammer, which is hitting Tails. A little unlucky. And Pokegear, they find a Lily, which is going to do them no good in their at their current juncture. Benching another Pikachu, or no, what do they do? I missed it. Benching a Sableye, attaching Hiding Dark. So they've got a good energy stream of their own, and Path to the Peak is protecting them from Lycanroc GX. So they're in a pretty good spot as far as energy is concerned. Using Gladion for turn to get something from the prizes. And Super Rod. Super Rod will replenish their energy. They only have 6 copies of energy, but they have basically unlimited Super Rods using Resource Management or Junk Hunt, so they'll get back 2 Dark Energy and a Mew. And finish the turn off with a Junk Hunt for Crushing Hammer and Pokegear to draw a little bit. I attach the Karate Belt. It's not going to do any good, but it is going to protect me from being head-ringered. I'll attach energy for turn and barrel for 3. I think about using the Great Ball, but instead I use it to get back Grant and use Grant. And then I'll go ahead and crunch for 50 damage. The real good thing that I'm kind of protecting myself here is if I stay in a Lycanroc, I'm protecting myself from getting Shock Lock because I can just evolve out of it. They hit one of the 2 Crushing Hammers, so I'm down to 2 energy, which is still enough to use at my attack. Pokédex to draw some cards. And they've got an energy attached to the Morpeko, which has a Torment attack, which does 20 damage, and then choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. I can't use it next turn. They will peony away their hand to get Crushing Hammer Versus Seeker. Go for the Crushing Hammer and hit Tails. They will have Versus Seeker for turn, and they're thinking about what they're going to do. They will in fact torment me. Because of the torment, I'm forced to evolve. So I'll get around that, and I'll go ahead and take another prize with Dangerous Rogue this time. I'll get a Tapu Koko down as a pivot in case I need to use an escape rope, because Raichu is definitely incoming. And there it is. We've been shock locked now that I have evolved. We're locked into place. I'm sure after this Lily here, yeah, we're going to Junk Hunt, or we're going to Crushing Hammer, which is a Tails. Very unfortunate for my opponent. Bench a Mew. Attach to it, or think about attaching to it, and don't attach yet. We'll go ahead and get back Devo Spray and Rescue Carrier. The Devo Spray will allow them to chain with the other Pikachu next turn. I've been paralyzed, so no way around that. I do have a Team Flare Grunt, which is going to get rid of the energy, and Escape Rope, which is one way around my paralysis. I'll keep attaching to the Lycanroc. Draw up with the barrel, and then retreat back in, and Dangerous Rogue for the KO. I'm now down to 1 prize. They do have Shock Lock in play. They're going to devolve and then evolve the other one to lock me in play. And they're going to get back 2 fossils with a rescue carrier. And Junk Hunt to, I'm assuming, get the Devo Spray. And oh yeah, Devo Spray and Super Rod. Yeah, my opponent is down to 1 card in deck, so they do need to loop some Super Rod shenanigans. I don't have too much in my hand that is impactful in terms of winning the game right off the spot. Field Blower can get rid of Path to the Peak, so I can potentially discard some energy with the from the Rockruff on the bench. But at this point, I'm just going to play it a little conservatively. I'm going to use Grant to thin my hand down. Discard Strong Energy because it's kind of useless at this point. Play Grant for turn and draw 1 card off of a barrel. My opponent is just in full Junk Hunt mode. They'll go ahead and Super Rod, put 3 energy back into the deck, and they'll Devo Spray and then evolve the other Pikachu, still locking me into place, and then they'll go ahead and Junk Hunt for Devo Spray and switch. I'll attach for turn to the benched Rockruff. And I'm still locked into play with no solution yet. I do have the research, so it's just kind of just burning a hole here in my pocket. But I'm going to keep playing it safe. I'll get back Roseanne's backup for a Pokemon, a Fighting Energy, and a Viridian Forest. We'll back up for 1, and that backup gets me Karina. And now Karina is definitely an out to win the game. So that makes me feel like I'm in a really good spot. My opponent will retreat out of the Sableye and go into Resource Management or Oranguru. Resource Management is just going to get them a better draw here at the end because it will get 3 cards back into deck, which they're going to be able to draw with the Slurpuff. And they'll continue to Shock Lock. Now I'm kind of in my head just like trying to piece together how I get the win now that I have Karina in hand. I'm a little scared of Ace Trainer, and like I have to keep track of where their Versus Seekers are because they've played their Ace Trainer, but they can get back infinite Versus Seekers. But I luckily just draw a Fighting Energy off the top, and that's all that I needed because I will Devo Spray the active to get rid of paralysis because Devo Spray counts as evolving a Pokemon. So when you evolve, you get rid of special conditions. So I'll Devo Spray to get rid of the paralysis, retreat, attach to the benched Rockruff, which is now the active, evolve into Lycanroc, and I'll use Splinter Discharge GX, which will do 60 damage times 2 since Oranguru is a colorless type, weak to fighting, and we'll do 120 damage to the Oranguru to finish off the game. My opponent and I kind of talked after the game was over, like my deck really matched up into this specific flavor of control pretty well. I have a couple outs to getting Shock Lock, and I've got Escape Rope, and Devo Spray. Plus, Flying Flip is just a good way to knock down like the max HP. One of his guys has is that Guru that has 120 health, and I can OHKO that. I mean, my attacks do my max 120 damage before weakness anyway. So the small guys were really Flying Flippable, and I was really able to control since he was running so few energy, where those energy were and how that was impacting the board. So kudos to my opponent. I think it's a really cool deck, and I hope it goes really far because I think it kind of showcases what cool kinds of decks you can build in this cube because control is so pushed. I mean, you got all the pieces you would ever want for control deck. So yeah. Well, with that, I'll leave it there for round 2. If you want to check out my round 3 action, that should be coming pretty soon, maybe after the beginning of the holiday season here. But yeah, keep coming back to the Cube League Discord for more info on Pokemon cubes and how you can get involved in them. Because they're, as you can tell, they're a blast for sure. So I'll sign off for here for now. We'll see you back here for round 3.